Mm. What's up, people? So today I want to talk about. Let me stop eating because that's rude. All right, we're talking about why it's good to starve yourself to death, meaning fasting. But I do mean starving yourself to death. Reason being is because I was having a conversation with somebody a couple weeks ago, and I get this a lot for people who don't be like looking up things and shit like that. As far as fasting, they think it's dangerous. They think they're gonna die. Niggas can't go 6 hours without eating. So let me explain what happens when you fast, because that's when I gave up meat and dairy and started eating better. I jump kicked it with a 3 day fast. I went 3 days without eating nothing. All I did was drink water. So what happens when you fast is it's called something called autophagy, right? So we got to look at our body like a community. Like we think we are one thing, like one entity, but we're not. We just made up of a whole bunch of different cells. It's like doing their own thing, right? So what happens is our body uses 60 to 80% of its energy to digest food. The rest of it is used for you being able to think straight and fighting off diseases and things like that. But most of it is used for digesting food. So when you're not digesting food, that gives your body a chance to do other things such as fighting off diseases, like fighting off cancer. Because technically we catch cancer every day. So how cancer works is like a cell will come through. I look at it like this. It's like your immune system or whatnot is looking at cells come through on a conveyor belt, right? And they got to look a certain way. And every once in a while, a cell will come through looking fucked up, which would be the cancer cell. It's supposed to take that cell, throw it out, kill it, and do that. But if it's tired, because it just got done digesting that fucking hamburger you ate not too long ago, you just ain't got the energy, period, you ain't got enough sleep or whatnot, it may not be so good at its job, and the cancer cell or these bad cells will slip on through and then start replicating and boom. So when you don't eat, you give your body a chance to catch up and do other things. And what happens is it kills off all your weaker cells. It kills off all of your dysfunctional cells and all the cancer cells. They die. They kill them. They get off. You start to create new cells, new, stronger cells that's doing what they're supposed to do. I look at it like a job, firing all the fucked up employees that ain't showing up to work on time, and they're hiring in a good new batch. That's what fasting does. Pardon me while I take another bite of my apple. But yeah, so that's what fasting does. Kills off the weaker cells, allowing new, stronger cells to grow, giving your body much more energy to fight off whatever other infections and things you got going on. Because, like I say, 60 to 80% of your energy is used just digesting food. And then when we consider the type of foods that the average motherfucker eat, most people eat hamburgers every day, and it take you up to 3 days just to digest red meat. And it's no wonder why everybody's so goddamn sick and catching cancer all the time. Because it's using all the energy to digest that shit that shouldn't even be digested like that. It ain't like it got fiber to help. No, none of that. You know what I'm saying? So that's one thing that happens. Another thing that's happening is psychologically you building up the power of discipline. We got to exercise it like it's a muscle. You know what I'm saying? You can't if you catch yourself in some emergency situation where you got to lift something heavy, but you ain't been in the gym working out, you ain't going to be able to lift that motherfucker. You might hurt your back. But if you practicing and you exercising your muscles, you're hitting the gym, you doing your bench press and whatnot, when that real life situation comes, you'll have the strength to pick up whatever that thing you're trying to pick up is. I say that to say fasting helps our disciplined muscle. You're practicing resisting your most primal urge, because as soon as we come out the womb, we looking to eat. We looking for our mama titty or some milk somewhere or something. That's something we've been doing entirely our whole life. So to abstain from that is going to require some discipline. You ignoring all of your hormonal signals, you ignoring all your hunger pains, all of that to say no. So psychologically, it builds up that discipline muscle. I call it a muscle. So now when you come into a real life situation where giving into your urges will be a very bad decision for your life, you will have the discipline to say no. You understand what I'm saying? Let's get on some myths though, because I probably started it off a little bit too deep and scientific. Let's scale it back a little bit. One common thing I hear is when you fast, as soon as you start eating, you put all that weight back on and you gain a whole bunch of weight. No, not necessarily. So like, I'll tell you about what happened with me. And it's not anecdotal. You can look up different studies. It's going to be the same. We got to look. I think what people be doing, so like I fasted for 3 days, right? And I think I lost like 12, 13 pounds. And when I started eating again, about 2 days later, I put back on 6, 7 pounds. People will see that and be like, yo, I'm putting all this weight back on too fast. But all I put back on was 6 to 7 pounds. I lost 12 to 13 and only put 6 to 7 back. So that means the 6 to 7 pounds was the water weight, which you should put back on. The rest of it was fat. And people say, oh, you're losing muscle. No, fasting actually helps build your muscle. Your body going to start burning the fat first before it gets to anything else. Your body, so when you fast, it's going to burn off all the fucked up cells that shouldn't be there. It's going to go to your fat and whatever other infections is in you, and then it'll get to your muscles and your organs. And at that point, you're really starving yourself to death. You need to eat something before you fucking die. That's how that works. But outside of that, man, you're not going to put on no, it doesn't, what they say, slow down your metabolism. Perhaps that's a good thing, because what's really happening is you're ridding your body of all your overactive ghrelin hormone, which is a hunger hormone. That's what makes you want to eat all the damn time. And we so used to eating 5, 6, 7 times a day. We need to ignore that, and we need to practice ignoring that. You know what I'm saying? That's why obesity is such a fucking huge deal here. Most of the diseases, like we look at what is heart disease, cancer, and I think like some of respiratory. Those are the top 3 killers here. The heart disease shit and the cancer shit, that's pretty easily avoidable, because that's mostly dealing with our lifestyle and what we eat. Fasting to help a whole lot. So another thing is, part of the discipline is ignoring your hunger or your cravings, which you really ain't even hungry. What happens is, when you get so used to eating every day at a certain time of day, that's when your ghrelin hormone will wake up like, yo, it's time to eat, start eating. Because the hormones is like, it's like instructions. They like tell you what to do. That's why like people with diabetes, they've been needing to take insulin, because the insulin supposed to tell the cell to open up to let the carbs come in so you can have energy. You know what I'm saying? That's what insulin is, a hormone, tells the cells open up. Ghrelin tells you it's time to eat. Leptin tells you it's time to stop eating. All right. So like for me, I got to a point, I used to eat my biggest meals at midnight. So at midnight, I'd be dumb hungry. When I first started, because right now I intermittent fast. I do that because I think that's a crazy term. I think we spoiled with so much food that we got to come up with a concept such as intermittent fasting just to tell us to eat normally like we should have been from the jump. So now I don't eat past 7, 8 o'clock anymore. But when I first started doing that, it was so crazy. I would wake up out of my sleep, like really tripping. But that was only about 2 nights. I ignored it because I knew I wasn't hungry. I had already ate. A lot of times when we get this hunger feeling, we're not really hungry. We don't need any new nutrients or nothing in the body. We done already ate. Your hormones is just used to telling you it's time to eat right now. No matter what done already happened. It's like, yo, go to the kitchen. We need to eat something. Sometimes. Other times when you get cravings or hunger, it be your own damn gut bacteria. That's why I say we're not really one entity. We made up of all these different things that kind of do their own thing. And some of these things within us don't have our best interests at heart. So it'll manipulate your hormones and tell you to eat something that they need to survive, not you. And then you go and eat it, and then you wonder why you still don't feel satisfied, because you're not feeding yourself. You're feeding the other gut bacteria in you, parasites and shit like that. Another thing that causes these cravings or hunger is some type of mineral or vitamin deficiency. Like you might get a craving for some fries out the blue. And that's because your only reference point is really because you deficient in potassium, and your only reference point for potassium is some fries from McDonald's. And you usually overeat the fries, so you probably get about 10 to 15% of your daily recommended potassium and whatnot from the fries. Hold on right quick. Anthony Joshua is the total pack. Hold on right quick. All right, my bad. But what was I saying? Oh yeah, so a lot of time the cravings can come from a goddamn deficiency in a mineral or a vitamin, and our only reference point would be to some fast food fries because we don't eat spinach, we're not eating beans, we're not eating nuts, and other things that have greater sources of potassium in it. And we don't eat like regular baked potatoes. We eat the fucked up fries from the fast food joint, and then we go crazy on that, but it's still salt on the fries. So the more salt you eating, the more potassium you need. So it's like a never-ending cycle, and you wonder why we overeat until we stuffed and we hate ourselves. Like, damn, why the fuck I eat all that? So the easiest, perhaps a little extreme, but the most effective way to fight this shit is to just stop eating for a minute. And the more overweight you are, the more I'll recommend. By the way, I'm no doctor. Consult with your doctor and all that good shit. But the more excessive body weight you have, the more I recommend to fast. And I would even go as far as to say if you haven't felt hunger in a long time, because your body got plenty of energy to burn off of in the event that you stop eating. That's why it stores fat in the first place. So it's so many benefits. So now we're gonna talk about the difference between a water fast and a dry fast. The water fast, basically you can only drink water, right? And I would say drink warm water. I would say to drink warm water, period, anyway. Because our body got to maintain a certain temperature. It was like 98.5, 98.6, something like that. And when we consume cold shit, our body needs to use energy to bring it back up. That can help with weight loss, you know what I'm saying, here and there. But in general, you just want to be in harmony with your body and what your body's trying to do. So that's that. The dry fast is dope to me because that's not having no water. That's to the point where you don't even take showers, you don't even touch water. So what happens is after about 16 to 20 hours, your body will make its own water because we breathe in. Water is made of what? H2O, 2 atoms of hydrogen and an atom of oxygen. Our fat, hydrogen is in our fat. That's part of the composition of fat is hydrogen. We breathe in oxygen. And once your body realizes like we ain't getting no external sources of water, it makes its own water from the oxygen you breathe in, and it starts pulling the hydrogen from the fat inside of you, which makes you burn the fat even faster. And this water is like literally perfect for your specific body because you're making it. The only thing that's doper than the water you're making yourself, the molecular water you're making yourself on a dry fast, the only thing doper than that is your mama's breast milk. Because your mama's breast milk has a certain balance of nutrients and shit specifically for you, not your brother, not your sister, for you. So after that, I would say the water that our body makes from us not drinking water. And those type of fasts that's 3 times as powerful. But it shouldn't be done for more than a few days, of course. and that's nothing. They say we can't go 3 days without water before we die. That's a lie. People done fasted without water for weeks and weeks. But once again, consult your doctor. I'm not telling you to do this, especially not for an extended amount of time. But one last point I want to bring back to the fasting, it's just as important as the fast itself is how we break our fast. or breakfast, even every day. Like, this is my first meal of the day, just an apple. And if I'm still not satisfied, I'll be snacking on these pumpkin seeds and shit. And water, of course. So for example, when we go on a prolonged fast, like 3 days or longer, we have to break it with melons, soft fruit, or soup, or smoothies. Something that's not too crazy. You don't want to break a fast on no steak or no burger or no chicken or nothing like that, because you will shock your digestive system. But that same rule applies, period, on a daily, because we technically fast every night when we go to sleep and we wake up. Hopefully you let at least 12 hours go by. After about the 12th hour, that's when a little bit of the fasting benefits start to kick in. So that's why they got the little 16-8 shit, because you give your body 3-4 hours to really do the benefits type of shit that they say. So even every day for breakfast, your first meal, whether you have it in the morning or later, I have mine later. Like right now it's 1:30, I'm just now eating. It should be broken with some fruit or something, like a smoothie. Oatmeal is probably the heaviest thing you should eat for breakfast. And not adding a whole bunch of syrup and all that extra shit in there. Just some oatmeal or whatever. Maybe you want to put some fruit in there or something like that. That's how we should break our fast for breakfast, or we are doing too much. Because once again, I look at my cells and everything in my body, I look at it as like employees, and like food is like the dishes. So it's like ain't nobody been in the dish room to digest the food or wash the dishes for 12, 13 hours, and all of a sudden I give it some pancakes and sausage and eggs, and the sausage and eggs ain't even got no fiber in there. I look at the fibers like dishwashing liquid to help them digest the food out. Ain't nobody in the room. You just dump a whole bunch of tough ass dishes in there with nothing to help them wash it out like the fiber. That's crazy. You're doing yourself a disservice doing that. You know what I'm saying? You want to wake them up light, cool little apple. You know what I'm saying? Something with some fiber in it too. Then your next meal, 2 to 3 hours later, we can get a little bit heavy, and perhaps that should be your heaviest meal of the day. We should have our heaviest meal of the day really like no later than 2, 3, maybe we'll say 4 o'clock, being generous. But like me, I don't eat past 7, 8 o'clock. And even since doing that, and let me say this, because I don't eat meat and dairy, and I always be talking to the homies about that shit, right? But real shit, when you eat is probably just as important. If not, it's a half a step below. It's just as important as what you eat. Like your whole food, plant-based, alkaline, vegan type nigga, but they eat all throughout the 24 hours that the day has to offer. If you compare that nigga to the person who, he eats bullshit, he might eat KFC, Taco Bell, McDonald's, but he only eats within like a 4-hour window, especially earlier in the day. That alkaline vegan is not going to be too much healthier than the nigga who eat bullshit, but within a small amount of time, and he's done eating towards the top of the day. It's all kind of science that prove that shit. So just because you eating your broccoli and your kale, but you eating it 30 minutes before you fall asleep, that ain't too much better. When you eat is just as important as what you eat, because once again, your cells and shit, they're like, they working for you. They clock out like at 9, 10 o'clock. You still eating past 9, 10 o'clock and drinking liquor and going to goddamn eat the worm, eating all that bullshit. Your cells are clocked out. They ain't helping you. They ain't digesting none. They ain't doing none of that. So while all that fucked up food is being unsupervised by your immune system and shit like that, it just got the chance to do whatever the fuck it wants to do in your body. So we gotta give our body a break. Let them clock out when they're supposed to clock out. We have to, not to sound like that nigga Yada, but we got to be in tune. You know what I'm saying? We just have to be. So I recommend this is what I want niggas to do. Because I know to tell people to give up meat and dairy and processed food and shit, that's a difficult task. You got to be really motivated to do some shit like that. Like I was. Because if I wasn't scared for my life, I would have never stopped eating the way I was eating either. But all I ask is to not eat past, I'm gonna say 9 o'clock. I'm not even gonna say nothing like 6 or 7. Don't eat past 9 o'clock, right? And when you do eat your breakfast, whether you eat in the morning or whether you wait till later, let your first meal of the day be nothing heavier than oatmeal. So just eat like some fruit or some maybe some oatmeal or a smoothie, juice, something real light. Don't start breakfast eating eggs and pancakes and sausages and shit. Don't do that. Eat the fruit or whatever for breakfast. Chill for like 2 to 3 hours, and then eat whatever you want to eat after that. Eat whatever you want to eat all the way till 9 o'clock at night. At 9 o'clock at night, stop. Don't eat no more. I bet you will see some tremendous health benefits. And if you're already doing it, I bet you your health ain't too bad already. And then for those of you who already don't eat past 9 and you don't eat stupid heavy breakfast, I would just say move your latest meal a little earlier to like 7 or 8 o'clock. You know what I'm saying? Hold on. Move it to like 7 or 8 o'clock. Give me 1 second. Yeah. But yes, fasting, I strongly recommend it. I'm not even certain I would have had the discipline to continue to eat the way I do if I hadn't started it off with a fast. We don't realize like we addicted to food. That's why when I remember when I first was telling some of the homies I was fasting, and you ain't eating. I can't go 4 to 6 hours without eating. That's crazy. I'll never do that. You going 2 days? Let me tell you something, because a lot of people don't know we are addicted to food. Like we don't eat to nourish ourselves. We eat to feel good. We eat to get high. Because when we eat certain foods, especially with all the sugar in there, it activates our brain just like cocaine do. It's a fact. So most of us, we go through whatever we're going through in our lives. We don't have healthy relationships with people and shit like that. So we can only find our happiness in food. And it's because some of us will call ourselves trying to be good people by not smoking and drinking, but they still may be addicted to food. So you kind of really know better, especially when you eating crazy. I'm not saying like don't eat ever, of course. But what I'm saying is if you can't bring yourself to stop eating for at least 12 hours, and people think that they don't eat for 12 hours, but the average motherfucker only go about 8-9 hours without eating, because you'll get 5-6 hours of sleep on average, and then people be hungry as soon as they wake up, and they're gonna go get the Egg McMuffin or whatever the fuck from McDonald's. Like niggas really eat to get high. It sounds crazy, but that's a fact. The food activate the brain. High fructose corn syrup is in 90% of the processed foods out in this motherfucker. And that fuck with your brain just like cocaine, because it's sugar, but it's heavily concentrated sugar. Like it's worse than just sugar. Like high fructose corn syrup, that's the worst form of sugar you can consume. We eating to get high. We supposed to get high naturally. We supposed to get high just off of fucking with one another as people. We supposed to get high off of exercise. We supposed to get high off of the work that we do and getting rewarded for the work that we do. Like me teaching and shit, once I get feedback from this type of video and they say how it helped them and whatnot, that's gonna give me a high. I was talking to the homie the other day. He do clothes and shit, and when people give him feedback on how they like his clothes, he says it gives him a high, and that's a fact. We could literally measure the shit in his brain. But if we are going to get our high from donuts, so we have, and that's something that's dangerous too, eating food that has addictive shit in it, and on top of that you're getting high off of it. Yo, like niggas, one of the most hardest things for like being a vegan is not giving up the meat, it's giving up the dairy, because dairy has casomorphine in it, which is very addictive. So that's why we can't put the goddamn mozzarella down, because we are literally biologically addicted to it, right? And then cheese is just concentrated milk, and milk is just the cow's blood and pus, which leads to prostate cancer and some more shit. But I'm not about to make this an anti-dairy video or even a pro-vegan video. I just want this to be a video about educating people on the benefits of fasting. You know what I'm saying? And at the very least, I'm not even telling you to go on no 40-day Jesus fast, not even a 3-day fast like I did. Just stop eating for. I'm not even gonna ask for I'm not even asking you to do the 16-8 joint. Just go 12 to 13 hours every day, at least. Jesus Christ, just do 12 to 13 hours of not eating every day, preferably not eating past 9 o'clock p.m. Whatever your time is. And then when you first eat breakfast, eat fruit or something like smoothie, soup. Oatmeal should be the heaviest shit. You know what I'm saying? That alone is going to help in a crazy way. Because when you eat is just as important as what you eat. And we cannot be eating to get high. That should not be where we get our high from. And nor should we be letting our children get high. When they do anything that you ask for some Skittles and shit, acting pretty fiendish. We shouldn't even introduce the kids to that shit. I'm sorry, and I be looked at as the bad guy because I don't like my daughters eating candy and I don't like them eating red meat and shit like that. I'll let them live. I'm trying to let them live. Y'all trying to kill them. That's how I see it. What I'm gonna give my daughter Skittles for when they got red 40, the color red dye in red 48 or whatever it's called. My daughter already hyper, and that shit don't help with a kid's attention span. With whenever you're eating processed food with the color red, all them colors is fucked up. Processed food in general, but especially the color red. Think I'm lying? Ask any doctor who's good at their job and care, especially if you're dealing with a child who has ADD or ADHD, they're gonna tell you not to let them eat candy that's the color red, because that specific chemical is terrible for their attention span and it exacerbates ADHD. I'm not pulling this shit out my ass. This natural color red, this is fine. Glue from the earth. But at the very least, if you're gonna do that, at least do it before 9 o'clock p.m. I don't think that's a hard request. And you'll also notice you won't be hungry all the time. Because once again, like I said, half the time we're not feeling hunger. It's either a potassium deficiency, your gut bacteria fucking with you, or just it's time for the ghrelin hormone telling you, yo, it's time to eat. And we don't have to listen to it. Just because you tell you it's time to eat don't mean it's really time to eat, because you probably already ate. That's why we gotta give our body like a rhythm. Just like, once again, with the employee analogy, you gotta have your employees have a certain type of rhythm. You know, from 10 to 12, we do this. From 12 to 2, we do this. Before we do this, you do random shit every day. Don't nobody know how to do their job right, and the business falls down. Or in this case, your body falls down. And you're sick and you don't know why. And we want to blame it on genetics. You can't really blame nothing on genetics because your environment is what affects your genetic expressions. We may not control the genetics and genes we inherit, but we can control how the genes is expressed by picking the conducive environment to only bring health. So I'm gonna probably stop now because I do gotta do something a little bit. And if I get too deep, I'll be talking for like hours and hours. But I do got a little bit more to say, but I gotta do something. So catch me on. I'm gonna probably go live again tonight. I might go live on YouTube and Facebook at the same time, though. I'm not certain. So I hope y'all enjoyed the stream. Y'all got any questions about what I was talking about? Feel free to hit me up. Got any ideas for topics for me to talk about? Feel free to leave them in the chat or the comments and whatnot. I'm gonna be live again later on tonight, especially for those who's insomniacs. I'll probably get on at like 10 o'clock p.m. Central Time. So, in the meantime, freedomoverfailure.com. New book on the way. I had it all. It mysteriously came up missing. Don't know why, but it's cool though, because I don't even mind rewriting it because there's a whole bunch of new shit I was learning that I want to incorporate in the book. So we just start over from scratch. That'll be out around probably the middle of July. And I'm talking about how to lower my blood pressure, how I lower my blood pressure, the things I did to do that, and the details and the studies and the story and all of that. So it's going to be dope. So check for that, freedomoverfailure.com. Y'all can email me, blackmore@gmail.com. Till next time.